Yeah, I'll just follow your lead, bud.
All right, you guys, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of Subscriber First Wholesale Interview. I have our guest today. I'm going to have him share with you guys how he got started and obviously his breakdown, how he got his first wholesale deal. So hopefully you guys will be able to juice up some knowledge and then go and obviously create your own success. All right, you guys. And I really hope that I can get all of you eventually onto the channel to share your stories. And this is the reason why I do this, is to help inspire and motivate those of you who haven't done one, letting you know that this is a real business, that everybody can do this. There's no special degree or anything like that you have to acquire. You just need to take massive actions on the things that you learn and make it happen, all right? So I'm going to have our special guest share with you guys how he made $5,000 on his first wholesale deal. So help me welcome Justin. What up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Khang?
Hey, happy Monday, man. Do you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I work every day though, so but yeah. Can you hear
Hey,
me okay and everything?
yep. I mean,
Okay.
that's just pretty much an entrepreneur life, right?
Amen. Yeah.
Amen. Justin, dude, let's get cracking. Let's have you go ahead and share. Tell everybody kind of your background, your story, and then how you got started, and obviously lead into your first wholesale deal.
Okay. First I want to say thank you for what you do, man. You're a blessing. You know what I mean? Like you, I appreciate you a lot. And I know a lot of other people. I send people to your channel almost daily. But anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for that. But so I've done a lot of different businesses over the years. I owned a restaurant, I owned a carpet company, all kinds of music stores. But so the last couple of years, I've had a contracting business, and I've been wanting to do flips for God, I don't know, like fixing flips for 15, 20 years. But getting the financing is difficult, so I haven't ever got to that point. So when I discovered wholesaling via YouTube and Facebook and everything, I started looking into it, and it sounds kind of scammy. It's like it has all the hallmarks of a scam. No money down, no money needed, no credit needed. Uh, you know, you don't have to have any experience, and you can make all this money. It sounds like a scam. So I kind of I set out to kind of prove to myself that it was a scam, and so my journey I started learning everything. I started watching you. I started watching other people. I don't know if I can say their names or not or whatever, but I mean, Max Maxwell's huge. I watch you and him. I'm on top of both y'all stuff. Everything you put out there, I watch. It's hard to keep up with you though. But so I got on the Facebook groups, Wholesale Houses Elite, and some other ones, and I'm pretty active in there, and I'm a pretty aggressive person. So when I set my mind to something, like, I'm going to do it, whether it takes a day or a year, I'm going to kill it. But or I'm not going to do anything at all with it. So I started learning and learning and learning and asking questions and competing, talking in this group, and learning as much as I can, and I was in the information stage, basically, just trying to figure out where to start. Like, I was getting lists, I was trying to order bandit signs, I'm driving for dollars, I'm learning as I go backwards, just like trying to do everything in the front instead of like focusing on the stuff that you really need in the beginning. So I had already had a couple of cash buyers. There's this app called Nextdoor, which is kind of like a local Facebook for your neighborhood or whatever, like a 5 or 10 mile radius. And there's not a lot of activity on it, but there are. I put a fake house on there and said, hey, I'm looking for cash buyers. This house needs a little bit of repairs. Really good deal in a great area, blah, blah, blah. And I had 5 people respond to that. And I got their information, and I didn't really talk to them, but I saved their information as buyers in my phone. And then, I did get in touch with this one guy through an ad I saw on Facebook. There was some guy in Seattle, and once I realized he was in Seattle, he hooked me up with somebody in Charlotte, and I called them, and they don't work where I'm at, which is about 2.5 hours away in Asheville, North Carolina. So they hooked me up with a guy that they know in my area. So I've been talking to that guy a couple of times on the phone. He's a real deal buyer. He does 4 or 5 flips at a time, etc. So while I'm doing all this stuff, I'm just kind of trying to figure out everything, and my phone rang. And it was a guy from Phoenix, Arizona named Kevin Orozco, and he's an experienced wholesaler, and he works with a firm or whatever that does, they do a lot. And he found me in the Facebook group and said he thought I was a seasoned investor. And then he was kind of shocked when I told him I hadn't had a deal yet, but I learned a lot, really fast because I go hard. And but anyway, so he said he had a house in my town, and that he was running out of time on the contract, and he needed to buy it. He didn't think there wasn't really enough money in it for a flipper. So I was like, sure, man, I'm on it, So he told me the numbers, what he got it under contract for. And so I called the guy that I had been speaking with verbally, and he wants a 20% return. And there just wasn't enough room in there for that. And so I texted him back, and I was like, sorry, man, I don't think I can help you, And then he's like, that's cool or whatever. Then the next morning I woke up at 6 a.m. like I do every day. And and something told me to text those other people. So I was like, all right. So I sent a text message out to those 5 people that I got off that Nextdoor app. And lo and behold, 2 people were like, let's look at it, And I was like, oh, okay. So I thought it was over, but then it wasn't, And so I contacted the guy back in Kevin in Arizona again. And I was like, I got 2 guys, but they want to look at the property. And the property's owner occupied. So we had to set it up it took a day or 2 to get it to where we could go look at the house. And so when we went to go look at the house, he was worried that that my buyers were serious in this type of stuff, which I understand. You don't want to waste people's time. And so I talked to them a lot and made sure that they were real cash buyers and that they weren't trying to rent it and all this other stuff, because people will try to talk you into renting it, even though you don't own it or whatever. But so we set an appointment to go look at the house. I had the buyers meet me at the gas station down the street because I've never met these people, And they met me over there, and I told them, I was like, the house is under contract. The lady lives in here. We're trying to not waste her time any more than we have to. We just need to look in and see what needs to be fixed. And then, we're not here to negotiate or anything like that. We'll talk about numbers after we leave because it's already under contract. You don't want your buyers talking to the sellers and all that. So I try to avoid things before they happen if I can think of it. But so we went there, and the Kevin guy had like 10 other people there looking at the house at the same time. So there was a lot of commotion, a lot of traffic, And I think ultimately that kind of pushed him a little bit to pull the trigger. You know what I mean? But and then one of the guys there, he sent that he's been working with for a while. He sent there to check me out to make sure that I was the real deal, and then I wasn't like, trying to scam on him or whatever, which was smart. And I ended up getting that guy's number, and now I'm talking to him about some other stuff that we might do together in the next town over. But so we went there, and the 2 guys were there, and we looked around, and I'm like, he had another buyer go through there like a week before that with a contractor, and they came up with a $50,000 repair bill, right? And I'm a contractor, so at first I was going off that number, but then when there's a big tree in the backyard. I live in the mountains. There's trees everywhere, mature trees, and everything's on a hill, So they were like, oh, the foundation needs some work because of the big tree in the backyard or whatever. It's going to cause a problem, right? So when I got there, the foundation was fine. It didn't even have a crack in it. And of course, there's a tree in the yard. It's been there for 100 years or whatever, but it hadn't broke the foundation or cracked the foundation, which isn't unusual around here because we live in the mountains. Everything 10 or 20 years old's got a crack in the foundation somewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean that the house is going to fall over, So I got the numbers down to about 35,000. The tree has been there. It's not going to grow exponentially in the next 5 years. You know what I mean? So I got it down to about 35,000, and there still really wasn't enough in there to fix and flip it. But these 2 guys that I took there, they want to buy it and rent it, fix it up and rent it. So that was a perfect situation for them. And he had the house under contract for 120, or he sent me a contract for 125. Okay. and he had it under contract for 122. So I'm trying to assign the contract to the buyers, for 130. Okay. And I'm willing to negotiate and get it down to $1,000 if I have to, just to get my first deal under my belt, and I was super nervous, and so we met with those guys, whatever. And then we all said, okay, thanks, took off. And then the one guy said, I'll get back with you here in about an hour and let you know what I think. And I was like, okay. So an hour goes by, he didn't text me. And I'm like, crap, So now I'm about to text Kevin and say they're not interested, So I texted him and I was like, hey man, what do you want to do? Like, it's a great deal. It only needs this amount of money. You can do the work yourself because he's kind of handy or whatever. And he's like, well, what do I need? I was like, you need to get a $3,000 deposit and a money order made out to the title company. It's a deed state here, so made out to the lawyer's office or whatever. And I called them and found out how they want to make the check out to them or whatever, what they wanted on there, the company name and this and that. And I was like, he's like, I'll take it for 130. And then I texted Kevin guy, and he's like, I just got another offer for 135. And I was like, well, my buyer's not into a bidding war. You know what I mean? And he's like, well, that's cool and all, but he's like, whoever gets down there with the deposit first, that's who's going to get it. And I was like, okay. So I called the guy and I was like, how long can till you can get to this lawyer's office, And he's like, I could be there in an hour with the check. And I was like, sweet. So I took off like a bat out of hell. I was about 30 minutes away. And I got to the title company or whatever you want to call it, the closing lawyer's office, about 40 minutes before him, because I hadn't had them look at my contracts yet. I didn't even know it was a joint venture, my first deal. So I was super stressed out about it. I had no idea how it was going to go down. And still, up to this point, I'm still thinking there's a scam somewhere, I'm waiting to see when they're going to ask me for some money, or what I got to give up something or whatever, or put my credit on the line or something, But so I got there and I had a meeting with the attorney. And I was like, this is what's going on. This is what he sent me. And this is my buyer contract that I already had, just waiting to use it or whatever. And so I had him go over all my contracts, and he made me change a couple of things. And I did all that before the buyer even got there. So I was ready to go, and I was kind of confident. Basically, I sat down with the lawyer, and I was like, this is what's going on. Is everybody going to get paid like they're supposed to? Am I going to get paid? Is this guy in Phoenix going to get paid? And the buyer's going to be okay? Blah, blah, blah. And everything turned out that it was, I was skeptical. But he told me everything would be fine and this and that. And super nice guy. And so by the time the buyer got there, I was pretty confident and had been there for about 30 minutes or so and just waiting in there. And he came in, and I didn't tell him this was my first deal or anything like that, So I don't want to portray that I'm inexperienced, So I pretended like I've done this 100 times, and I already knew the lawyer's name. So I was like, oh, when William comes out, he'll take us back there, this and that. So, oh no, what happened? I got there before them, and I met with a different attorney there, and he's looking at me, and he wasn't very friendly. He's like, so what am I doing here? Like he was acting like I was wasting his time. I was like, well, this is my first deal. I don't know if my contracts are legit. This is what the guy sent me. And he's like, well, you need to fix this and this and this. And so I was like, well, hold on and let me get the guy on the phone from Phoenix. And he's like, I don't have time for this. He's like, let me know whenever you get this all straightened out. And I was like, man, what an asshole, Anyway, so when the buyer had already got there, and I kind of knew what needed to be fixed, and I was texting Kevin in Phoenix trying to tell him what I needed updated on the contracts or whatever. I told the buyer, I said, hey, when the lawyer calls us, I'm going to go in there for a few minutes, just me and him, so I can make sure everything's good and straight, and then we'll call you in there and do the deal or whatever. And he was like, okay. So I went in there and I was like, I got the guy out here, my contract's straight and everything. Anyway, so we fixed everything, and then I went back out and then brought him in there. As soon as he came in the room, I was like, his name's Jeff. I was like, Jeff, just so you know, the reason why I had myself come back here before both of us came back here is I just wanted to make sure that everything was on the up and up, that the paperwork was all straight, so we didn't waste your time, But really, I was trying to make sure that nobody was going to get screwed over or whatever, And he's like, oh, that's cool, man, whatever. And So we did the deal and signed the papers and sent a couple things back and forth to Kevin through the DocuSign thing. And he put down his deposit, and he looked over at me and he goes, "Is this your first deal?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Congratulations, brother. This is my buyer said that." And I was like, "Oh, cool." I was like, "How do you even know what's going on?" He's like, "Man, I've been a real estate agent for 20 years, even though I don't do that anymore. I'm still a licensed agent." And he's like, "This is crazy how you can like sell a house that you don't own and that you're not like a real estate agent." I was like, "Yeah, it's called," I kind of explained to him, wholesaling a little bit. And he's like, "It sounds legit to me." And I was like, "Cool." He was a super nice guy. And so the attorney told me, he's like, at this point, you're pretty much done. You know, we've got you don't have to come back except for when the checks get divvied up. So I'm thinking like the next day I'm going to get my check, you know, and it doesn't happen like that. The title search had already been done by Kevin previously, so that saved a lot of time. So I sold the house for $130, and my profit was $5,000. And it took about, I think it was 7 days for the checks to come in. I didn't know that they had to record the deed and all that stuff. And they had to meet down there with the buyer and the seller and all that and sign everything when the money was transferred. And then somebody has to run to the courthouse, record the deed, and then the checks get cut. So I learned all that afterwards. And then I was still waiting for somebody to call me or not call me and be like, "Sorry," you know, or show up and get a check that's less than what I thought it was going to be or whatever. You know, I was still in scam mindset because it just seemed, even though it seemed stressful and hard, it was really pretty easy. And so that all went down. I showed up and I got my check, and that's when I reached out to you guys because I watch all your first flip videos. It's really inspiring, and you learn a lot. You know, you learn what some people made mistakes. Like I was really worried about the buyer and the seller being in the same room together. And so I told the guy, you know, how I told the buyer how this whole thing kind of worked, and that I'm giving him a good deal, but I'm getting a little bit off the top of it, basically, is how I get paid. So he doesn't have to pay for anything but the closing costs. And he was like, "As long as I'm getting a good deal, man, I don't care. You know, you got to make money." You know what I mean? And I was like, well, he was a pretty nice guy, you know. And then right before we left the title office or whatever, the attorney guy was like, "Well, you can see on here what Justin's going to make, and all this stuff is going to come out in the end. You'll see what everybody made off the deal." And he was cool with that. And so when I picked up my check, the funny thing, when I picked up my check, they gave me the little title statement or whatever it's called, the settlement statement. Yeah. And I went back through there and I looked at it, and I saw Kevin drop the price down to 118 at the last minute and made $7,000. And I texted him, I was like, "Nice move," you know. And he's like, "Man, I wasn't going to let you make more money on my deal, your first deal before," you know what I mean? So that was, I mean, the 122 was a good deal, but you know, he at the last minute talked him down to 118, so he made $7,000 and I made $5,000, and we're pretty cool now, and we talk a lot, and I ask him questions, and he helps me a lot and stuff, and it's just a good connection to have, you know. And they do virtual wholesaling all over the place. So, but the funny thing is, like, this address of this house came across my lap about a week before he called me. I think it was on Craigslist or 2 weeks before on Craigslist, or maybe it was on like Zillow or something. I was just searching around. I remember the address, but it made me think that I wasn't looking in the right spots, because I could have got that house under contract instead of somebody from across the country getting it under contract. So it made me realize that I need to pay attention to more the Craigslist. I need to be on there every day, and all these other little lead spots, the Facebook market or whatever it's called. Like, I need to be paying attention to that every day, because I could have made $12,000 had I not brushed it off. So that's what I've been doing since then. I've been, I get on Craigslist every morning at 6 a.m, and there's not even nothing new on there that I haven't seen yet, So But it did help me a lot to get over the jitters of the first transaction, because you think you got to put money down, and you think you got to pay for the closing costs, and you think you got to, like, a lot of people I noticed that, like, they lie, like they lie to the seller and they lie to the buyer. Like, it all comes out on the table in the end. And, and so my big thing is, like, I'm super honest with people. I'm just like, I'm an investor. I'm going to hook up with other investors. I work with other investors. I may or may not purchase this home. I may go in partnership with one of my investors, or I might just hook you guys up with one of my investors and they'll pay me. You know what I mean? So I think that there's a lot of shadiness going on in this business where people are lying about what they're doing. And I think that's why it gives us a bad name, because it's a pretty legitimate transaction. You just kind of got there first type of thing. But so I was honest with the guy. It paid off. And I was pumped, I'm still pumped. I've cashed the check since then. I'll show you the stuff. But I cashed the check since then, of course. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, nice.
$5,000.
Nice. So Justin, obviously I want to dive in a little more. This is kind of like a JV deal, so I want to dive into a little bit more for those of you who are new into the game. But first of all, man, I want to say congrats. Well done, dude.
Thanks, buddy.
Well done. And for those of you, smash that thumbs up for Justin. Now, Justin, so I want to go back into your background a little bit here. Is that so? What were you doing before you jump into real estate, and what triggered you, to got into the business?
Well, like I said, I'm a contractor, and I've been wanting to do fix and flips for like 15 years or something, but I just had no idea how to go about it, and getting the money for it. And I've got the guys, I got the crews, I got the tools, I got the know-how and the knowledge, and I do fix and flips for flippers all the time, but we're just doing the labor and all the skilled work part. So I want to replace them with me, and I want to be the guy doing the flips. But the money's hard to get. I talked to I think it's a hard money lender, can't remember what company or whatever, but they want 11% plus like points on the money, and you barely make anything in the end. And, so I didn't really want to go that option unless it was absolutely last resort. But so I started looking up the wholesale thing, and I was like, if I can make money doing this without putting any money up, I can build up enough money to where I can purchase my own fix and flip. Gotcha. So that's what my goal is to be able to do that.
Gotcha. So Justin, actually, before you discover real estate, the wholesaling side, you were a contractor.
Correct. I still am.
Gotcha. And how do you come across wholesaling?
Just Facebook, I think, is where I discovered it. And at first, like, I didn't really realize that there was a bunch of stuff on YouTube about it. So I saw some stuff on Facebook, like buy and sell houses without your own money, all that stuff, the ads. People are putting ads up there. And I didn't realize that's what it was at first. So I've watched a couple of those little videos, and I've called a couple of them and emailed them, and they all want to sell me a program for $3,000 to $5,000 or more. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work either, and I'm still thinking this is all a big scam or something, because like I said, it has all the hallmarks of a scam, but it's not, it's real. And so I just thought I would just go out and just try to figure it out myself, and try to see if it's real or not, And then the JV deal, I was interested in that because I hear people talking about that, but I thought I didn't know how I would ever get that going on or whatever, but it just kind of fell into my lap. I got lucky, that Kevin called me because I was active on the internet. I'm making a presence out there, and I'm learning, and I'm trying to learn, and I'm trying to help people as I go as well. With the stuff I know, I try to, pass it along to people that were where I was 2 months ago or whatever. So I've been doing it about 3 weeks, and then that landed in my lap. So.
Wow. You know what? I was just going to ask you, Justin. So when did you initially discover wholesaling and then start, obviously collecting information?
Yeah, I've known about it for about a year, but I didn't start doing anything like really looking into it until about 3 weeks before that deal. So
Wow.
it's been about a month and a half total since I had zero knowledge and just thought it was a scam. And then so I just started going hard on it and staying up late and getting up early. And, my girlfriend's yelling at me because I'm on the phone looking at stuff all the time and everything. And I'm like, don't worry, when I get some money coming in, then it's my turn to yell at you. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But when we're on vacation, you can yell at me then,
That's right, man. That's
or whatever.
right. That's how you shut them up, right?
Yeah.
Show them the money.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
She was like hell bent that it was a scam. She's like, and she didn't believe me until I came home with the check. But now she's like all about it, and she's like, I can't believe you did that, and she's proud of me, blah blah blah,
awesome.
whatever. I bought her some earrings with that money, but
nice, man, nice.
They weren't expensive.
Justin, that's awesome, man. And I mean, it's pretty rare that I've seen people getting quick results like that.
Right.
So, man, hands down, more power to you. Now on the JV deal. So on the JV deal, do you know how the guy got the property under contract? Like, where's the lead come from?
I think he works for a pretty good sized company, and I think that they do a lot of lists. And there wasn't any debt on the house that was outstanding, or they owed like 114 grand on the house or something. So they walked away with a couple thousand. But there wasn't any tax issues or anything like that. But I think he got it off of Craigslist.
Gotcha.
So I should have bid on it when I saw it, but I just thought, I don't know. I didn't act, And
sure.
That's the main thing. Like, I hear people say it all the time, but you gotta do something. You just gotta act. I hear you say it all the time. I hear other guys say it all the time, and it's true. You just gotta do something. Like, right. It doesn't happen if you're just sitting there or whatever.
Absolutely agree. And the thing is, you guys, Justin, meet this guy because he said he was active. He was active. He was putting his name out there. He's helping. He's just being proactive, right? Just putting his name out there, and then all of a sudden, you just attract the people, the situations, the things that comes to help you to get to where you want it to be. Now, True. On this JV deal, Justin, so at first, the guy got under contract with the seller for 122.
Mm-hmm.
He sent it out to you for 125.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have like a JV agreement, or did he just assign it to you and then you assign it to the end buyer?
Well, I'm still kind of unclear about that a little bit. Like, he sent it to me. I don't think I signed his contract at all until I had the buyer ready,
Sure.
Because he wanted to make sure I wasn't wasting his time or whatever, and I didn't want to waste his time, but sure. I believe that he sent me the paperwork. All this happened in 2 days. He called me, and we were in the title office in 2 days. And so it kind of happened kind of quick, but I think I signed the actual contract that he sent me while we were in the lawyer's office. He docu-signed it to me, then I docu-signed it back to him, and then we printed it out for the attorney, and then the attorney already had, it was his attorney he had already found and got the whole thing set up. But I'm pretty sure I signed the JV agreement, which now I know I would sign it day of that I'm willing to accept the contract or whatever. But I was just trying to make something happen, so I didn't really know what the heck was going on. But
sure.
Pretty sure I committed to the JV the day when the guy was putting down the deposit.
Gotcha. So the thing, it's just my question is that, did you sign a JV contract or did you sign an assignment contract with the guy?
And I signed an assignment contract.
Got it. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you guys understand this. Okay, so basically, so the guy can assign it to Justin as long as he put this assignment agreement is assignable, then Justin can go ahead and assign it to someone else, and that someone else can go ahead and assign it to somebody else. As long as in that assignment agreement, it allows the other person to keep on assigning it. Because I have seen deals that people have assigned it over and over, like to like 3 or 4 different other people. So basically what it is that the guy assigned it to, so when Justin said, okay, I got to buy, I'm ready to go. Now he's going to act as he comes in, he's going to buy this property at 125, okay? Because the other guy assigned it to him now to come in and buy this property at 125, and simultaneously, Justin has an assignment agreement with the end buyer for 130. So now the end buyer comes in with the whole 130 and then funds the whole transaction. So that way Justin get his 5, and then the other guy came back and renegotiated with the seller and got it down to 118. Because I was just gonna say, man, Justin, you made more than the guy that
I know.
signed you the deal.
At first, I was like, "Dang, that's pretty cool," you know. But then
Yeah.
I found that in the end that he pulled something off in the very end. But good for him, you know.
Right. So I want you to understand that. So basically, he assigned it. It wasn't a JV contract. It was just an assignment contract that he assigned it to Justin when Justin said, "Hey, I have a buyer that's ready to go. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to sign your assignment contract, and then I'm going to sign it again over to my end buyer for 130, and my end buyer is going to come in and close on it at 130, and then the end buyer comes in 130 and funds the whole entire thing. That way, everybody gets paid." And the end buyer is the one that's going to pay for all the closing costs, because I'm sure that's what was agreed with the seller, that the buyer, whoever that is going to take care of all the closing costs. Is that correct, Justin?
Correct. Yes, sir.
So which means the seller, go ahead.
Ultimately, overall, it was 3 contracts. His original contract, the middle contract for me, and then the buyer contract. Sounds really complicated when you talk about it, you know, but it's really just 3 contracts. That 3 2-page contracts is all it really was. So
Gotcha. Awesome. And one thing I want to make sure that you guys hear that are getting in, that are not overwhelmed about contract, because when I first started, obviously contract, you know, I was brought up in a family, don't do anything with the law, don't do anything illegal and things like that. And I want you guys to understand this. If this business is illegal, no attorney, no company is going to put their business up at stake to close your transaction. If it's illegal, they would have let you know that this transaction is illegal. They would not do it, right? So don't listen to other real estate agents. Don't listen to other people that have not done this before tell you that this is illegal. If it is illegal, the attorney or the title company will never ever close your transaction, because they are going to be all responsible and liable for it. So I want you guys to understand that. And also too, I want you guys to understand that, you know, don't worry about, contract. What it is you just want to make sure that you get a contract from somebody that is in that area that have already used it before. So all the language is in there. It's pretty much all you do is you just go in there and fill out the blank. And because the other person has already used it, you're going to know that the end buyer or the wholesaler, the contract that they use is going to protect them no matter what. All right, it's going to protect them. So you want to make sure you get a contract that works in the area, and all you need to do is worry about filling out the blank, and then send it in. The title company or the attorney know exactly what to do with it because of all the languages in there. And the best way, you guys, when I first started, and I was like digging around trying to find a title company that really works and understand this. And once you find a good title company or the attorney that know how to do these transactions, it makes your life so much simpler, because all you need to worry is find the seller, have them sign the agreement, send it into the title company or the attorney, find the buyer, have them sign the assignment agreement, send it in, and you're all set to go. They'll worry about all the paperwork and getting it done. Like, you don't need to worry about anything.
yeah, I think, and what I've noticed, and I was doing it as well, is that when you're new and everything, there's so much, like, you're overcomplicating it, you know? Like, I was trying to, and naturally you're kind of trying to be a realtor, but you don't want to do that. you're not a realtor. You go to jail for that. You know what I mean? But you don't do what realtors do. You do like almost the opposite of what realtors do, you know? And I've tried to work with a couple of realtors that I know to try to see if we can work together. And it's just too complicated. There's just too much stuff, and they've got too many rules to deal with, you know, and they're scared they're going to get in trouble and all this stuff. So I'm not even going to mess with them unless I find one that's, you know, knows what's going on and scared to isn't scared to take a risk or whatever. But yeah, it seems really, really complicated, but really ultimately it's, you know, 4 pieces of paper. It's not crazy complicated. The hard work is getting the property, finding the property. That to me is the hardest part that I've, since the beginning to where I'm at now. That seems to be, my market's really inflated over here. It's all retail, even for tear downs. They want the land is more than the house. And I'm figuring out how to work in that market, you know, but it's pretty simple. Just find a house, talk them into selling it to you, and then sell it to somebody. It's great, you know.
Nice. So Justin, this buyer is also an agent, correct?
Correct.
He's a realtor, correct?
Yeah, but hasn't done that for a couple of years, but he's not active, but yeah, he is a licensed real estate agent.
Gotcha. And the reason why I point that out is because, you guys, some of these realtors, they got the license so they can go on there, they can go on the MLS because they also buy discounted property. They want to do fix and flip, or they want to buy an hold. So some of your buyers can be realtors. I just want to let you guys know that realtors can be your buyers. And I have done multiple deals that realtor is also an investor. They also look at properties to buy, fix and flip, to buy, hold, whatever it is, but they are also can be your buyers. Just want to let you guys know that. Now, Justin, what are you currently doing? I know, because it seemed like you're only a month and a half in. So what are you currently doing to find your leads, so that way you can give some other tips for the beginner?
Got you. Well, everywhere I go, I'm driving for dollars. You know, I probably swerve all over the place when I'm driving around. I'm always looking, you know, and because I drive around a lot for my company and for my business. And so I got some bandit signs I ordered that's been taking forever. It's been like 3 weeks. They should be here sometime this week. So I'm going to do those. They may, you know, some markets I've heard that they don't work. It just depends. You got to try everything. I'm in the analyzation stage of lists. I've got my tax delinquent list. There's 4,400 properties on there. So what I did and it's like a picture of a PDF. So, and the print is microscopic, you know. So what I did is I went on Fiverr and I sent somebody on Fiverr the list, and they broke it all down into a spreadsheet for me for $50. Worth it, you know. And they categorized it by like 1 to 2,000, 2 to 3,000, 4 to 6,000, and they broke it all down like that. So I can go down the list and I can skip trace the list now because it's in a spreadsheet. So that was really valuable to me. Also, I've got the code enforcement list where people bought a house, they wanted to fix it up, and there's some problems with the house that they didn't know about, and they don't have the money to fix it or whatever, or the knowledge or whatever. So I called down to the city code enforcement, and the guy that got on the phone said that it wasn't possible to get the list, and that it was too many things, too many places, and that I could probably get a list for like unmowed grass, or I could get a list for like broke windows, but to get all of it on one list, he said wasn't possible. And I was like, well, that's a bummer. That's not what I hear when I'm doing research on the internet and videos and this and that. So I sent an email to that code enforcement area in the city, and somebody responded back to me the same day. I had to type in what I wanted because it wasn't like a selection or anything. And they responded me back and said that they're working on my list and they'll have it out to me soon, and they'll send me an email receipt when I get it. It took about 4 or 5 days, and boom, I got a list with 4,000 properties on it. A lot of them are closed or older, so I kind of eliminated all those. And so I got the active ones and I got the expired ones. The expired ones, I think, tells me, and I could be wrong, that tells me that they didn't do anything about it. So they're probably just sitting there waiting for somebody to save them. You know what I mean? And so I saved all those ones, and the closed ones I broke off into a different sheet so I could just narrow it down. I've got it down to about 450 properties now. Also, I'm doing lists for vacants, absentees, um, pre-foreclosure, all that stuff. I got all those lists that I've downloaded, and I paid for them or whatever, and I've skip traced a couple of lists through REI Skip. It's a little complicated the first time, but I think the main thing is to make sure that your file is the right kind of file, so you don't, because they won't give you your money back, But so I've skip traced 3 or 4 lists, and now I just got a new account with Property List Manager. So I'm uploading lists in there today, right when I was waiting to talk to you, actually, so I can have them cross-reference all the risks and stack all the lists and see who's on multiple lists. Because I've been told that those are your highly motivated sellers, the people that got tax problems, they're pre-foreclosure, they've got, whatever, multiple problems. So there's your highly motivated sellers there. So that's what I'm working on right now, is trying to incorporate the lists. And that's my number one goal. I'm going to Florida for the weekend for a wedding, and I'm gonna, the whole time I'm not at the wedding, which is gonna be a couple hours a day, I'm gonna be working my list and getting that ready and get ready to start calling some people. And I have 2 houses under contract though, which is good. One of them's pretty much a wholesale. There's 6 people on the deed. They inherited the house, and they want too much for it. And I told them they wanted too much. They came down a little bit, but it's still just below retail, and it needs about 30 grand worth of fixing up. But it's on 2.5 acres, and it's very private. It's a nice lot, So you can build. I called a builder, and I sent them the address, and they looked it up on the GIS website, which I'd only looked at that once or twice for a job a couple years ago. But and they said that you could put 2 additional houses on the property, and I was like, okay, so that's an angle that I'm using to try to sell this house. And I told the people it's going to be a miracle if I sell this house at this price. I probably won't be able to do it, and I have to find that one person that's willing to take on this job and buy the house. And it's only been under contract for 2 weeks. I've had one offer on it for what they wanted, but the guy wanted to do an owner finance where he fixed it up with his own money. They put the house in a trust. He gave him 10 grand, and he gives me my 10 grand up front, so I'm out of the picture. Then it's in a trust, and they got 10 grand, and he'll fix it up with his own money, and then he'll sell it, and then they get paid. Or if it'll be a year contract, and if the year runs out before he sells it, they'll still get their money. And at first that was really confusing to me, how that whole thing would work out, and it seemed a little scammy, but he's a legit finance guy. Like, I looked him up, and he's finance guru guy. He's not just a real estate investor. He does all kinds of investing all over the world, and he's a pretty savvy guy, so I'm going to learn a lot of stuff from him. I'm making friends with him.
Nice.
But they didn't want to take the deal because they're older. They might not even be here a year from now. You know what I mean? So,
right.
And there's 6 people on the deed, so they each want 40 grand. Yeah, I understand. It's not a lot of money for one person, but so I do have people interested in it. And then I got another house that's total gut job, inside, outside, and everything. But it's a historic house, and I've got somebody highly interested in that, and I just got it under contract today. And I found a whole nother little town close to me that's booming, and there's tons of opportunity there out of that one. So
awesome, Justin. Hey, man, it seems like just within a month and a half, you're just out making things happen, man. So congrats. And I have a lot of people ask. Yeah, I have a lot of people ask about bandit sign. So how many bandit sign are you ordering, and what size? Everybody seems to ask what size of bandit sign.
Right. Well, it took me a minute to figure that out. So I got the ones that are 12 by 18. It just says, "We buy houses cash," and then the phone number, right? And they're red and yellow, I think. And I'm going to staple them up on the pole because I don't see too many signs around here. So I'm assuming somebody's snatching them up. Every now and then I'll see one, and then it's gone. But I ordered 100 signs. I figure I got a little buddy of mine that lost his job working at the movie theater because he gave me a free Slurpee. So I feel bad. Poor guy. I feel bad he lost his job for that. I didn't even ask for the discount. He was just trying to be nice and, trying to be cool or whatever. And they busted him. But so I'm going to pay him to go around and hang up my signs and do some driving for dollars and stuff like that for me. He's a great kid, and but I feel obligated to kind of help him out a little bit, But so I ordered 100 signs. I'm gonna have to put out about 25 a weekend or something like that in different areas. And I got a sideline number that I'm gonna attach directly to that number that I put on there. And so I'll be able to track my results and until I get big enough to do the call rail and all that other crazy stuff that's a little bit more bigger scale, you know what I mean? So I'm starting out small, working my way up or whatever.
Awesome. And Justin, please keep us posted on your success, man. That's awesome. Now,
for sure.
Justin, give so give those that are just starting out. What tips or advice can you give to those that are just starting it out, just learning, or maybe they're going at it for a while and they haven't seen any kind of result yet?
There's a couple things, but the main thing is like to stay positive. You got to stay positive and stay focused. Like you're going to run it. There's a lot to learn. Like, I don't think you'll ever learn it all. There's so much. Every time I wake up, I'm like, wow, I never even hear that before, and I've been pretty active. Like get active in your Facebook groups and ask questions, stay positive. Don't be scared to walk away from a deal if it's not a good deal, and work on getting them buyers. The buyers is crucial. Like if you don't have buyers, you're not doing anything. So you can always find a property, but you can't always find a buyer. So get the buyers going on first, because had I not had already done that, I probably wouldn't have been able to make that deal happen. It just happened to like kind of work out the way it did because I already had 5 buyers that I didn't even know, But take action, like there's so much to learn that you can be like going all over the place, like you're a little here, a little there, a little there. You got a list over here you're trying to get, and you're down at the courthouse trying to get probate leads and sifting through files, and you're trying to do bandit signs, and you're trying to do all these different things. Like just pick one thing, get it done, move on to the next thing, get it done. That way you did a thorough job at the one thing. Like that's how I compartmentalize things. Otherwise, there's so much stuff I got to do. I'd never get anything done. I'd just be having a lot of partial things done, and that drives me crazy. So I would just pick one thing, get it down, learn it, whatever, act on it, take action. And then once you get a house under contract, don't just wait for somebody to buy it. Like I've been advertising them on Facebook, Instagram, all kinds of stuff. And I had a little ad made that I've been blasting on Facebook and Instagram for like $30. I bought an ad off of Fiverr that says my information in there, and just stay at it and stay consistent. You know what I mean? Like if you lose your momentum, you got to get it back. Because the momentum is, and once you get that first check, you like got a new momentum. You're like, woo, you're like, yeah. And then you just like want to go even harder, But since you're not as scared as you were, you can get a little bit more focused, and don't listen to everybody either, because not everybody knows what they're talking about. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I try not to speak on things I don't really know about, but I see a lot of people speaking on stuff that's not true, or maybe it is true. I don't know, but you don't listen to everybody. Like double check things, double and triple check stuff. But just stay at it, man.
Awesome. Justin, that's some great tips and advice, man. I appreciate that. Now, obviously, everybody probably want to know, well, if I'm in your area, Justin, what area are you working in, and how can they get a hold of you, reach out to you, ask a question if they need any help?
I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm working all around my area because Asheville's inflated right now. So I'm doing all the little country towns around me and stuff like that. My name is Justin Smoody, Smudde. You can find me on Facebook. My company's name is Mountain Home Investments .com or Mountain Home Investment Group on Facebook. Blue Ridge Renovations, if you're a flipper and you need somebody to come fix it up for you, that's what we do. So Blue Ridge Renovations, WNC LLC. My phone number is 828-338-3228. Send me a text if you're in the area. I'm not scared to try anything once. So if somebody's got something they want to try, I'm willing to try it if it looks like it's going to make sense. And I, this whole thing, like people like you and Max Maxwell and a couple other people, like you're giving away this information, and it's really inspiring. And your energy is crazy, man. Like first couple of times I watched you, I was like, holy, I got to like keep going backwards because it's just like, but try to get information, get the information from people that know what they're talking about, that are actually showing you check stubs. That's pretty much, you don't see a lot of people talking, but they ain't got no check stubs. They must not be doing something right.
That's right. Well, the thing is, Justin, I want to warn you, your phone is going to blow up, bro.
Good.
So, also, Justin, do you have a channel? You have any channel, Facebook, Instagram that people can?
I do. I've been documenting my whole process because, like I said, I thought wholesaling was a scam, so I wanted to video record everything I've done. And I've got a channel. It's called Justin's Wholesale Journey, and I don't know. I'm pretty comical on there sometimes, I think, anyway. But I'm just recording myself with stuff that I learned, and I'm making a video, and I'm keeping everybody updated with my progress. And I got like 100 subscribers in like a week off of posting my check on Facebook. So, but yeah, I don't know. Should I not have put my phone number out there? I guess they can find it if they want to,
Yeah, well, the thing is, Justin, I can't edit this. It's already been said, so it's done, dude.
Right.
So, you guys, I'm going to make sure that I leave all of Justin's contact information, Instagram, Facebook, his YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked him out, go there, show the guy some love. And, when I listened to Gary Vee, he said document tape, don't need to create, because people love the realness, the rawness. So I think your channel, Justin, is great because you're documenting your journey.
Right.
And for me, when I watch stuff, that's what I like. I like the real, the raw stuff, what's going on and things like that. So awesome, man. So I'll make sure I put that all in the description for you. For those of you who are in the area and want to reach out to Justin, he got his phone number, probably email address and all that. So I'll pop it in so you guys can follow him or call him up or whatever it is, and maybe you guys can do some deals together, or
for sure.
you guys learn from. So Justin, I want to say thank you so much, man, for taking the time to do this with me. I really, really, truly appreciate it.
Oh, man, thank you. I appreciate you, man. Like, you don't even know. Like, every morning I wake up and I'm listening to you in the shower, Like, you get me fired up for my day, man. Your energy is infectious, for sure. And I'm glad y'all had me on here, and I'm going to be in touch with you for sure.
Awesome.
I do want to make a request, and you may have this out there. You got so many videos, but I want to get into virtual wholesaling because, like I said, my market's overinflated. It's already been tapped into. All the good stuff's gone, pretty much. So I want to get into virtual wholesaling, the 101. I need a video on that. So you probably already have one. You know what I mean? Like how to find the people in other states to do the footwork and all that type of stuff, But that'd be valuable for me anyway. But I'm really grateful that you had me on here, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and it's glad to talk to you for the first time.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Justin. So you guys, for virtual wholesaling, when Justin just asked, there is a company, but I share that in my private Facebook group. There's a company that will actually be the legwork for you, all right? They'll do the legwork for you all across the U.S., all right? And also the key thing to virtual wholesaling is you must know how to talk to these sellers, because now you can't come out there and look at the property. So how can you tie a piece of property up on a contract without ever physically going out there? All right. So you have to know the key things. There are certain things you have to say to seller to be able to lock their property up, get them to, give them the peace of mind and trust to sign that contract all over the phone. And that's what I do. I don't care if they're 10 minutes away from me, 15 minutes away from me, half an hour, or they're in another state. We don't go out there and see the property, period. And once I shift my mindset to virtual wholesaling and not go out there, oh, you know, sound like a deal, I got to go out there. It's just going to eat up a lot of your time. And for me to scale up, to lever up, like right now, we can train any VA. They do not need to know anything about real estate, period. These girls are like in their 20s. They're from Philippines. They speak good English, and that's all you need. But we don't need like, you know, so you don't need someone with background experience to go out there with a checklist to go through the house saying this. I'll show you exactly how to talk to seller to get them to give you a number on repair costs. And then you use that. And then basically, obviously, you got to learn how to know a little bit about, because you don't base on their number, because most seller don't know exactly what the repair cost would be. But I'll show you how to, you know, get them accountable for the number they give you in case you have to go back and renegotiate. But I'll show you how to lock property up under contract over the phone. And once you know how to do it over the phone, oh man! And once you lock that deal up virtually,
Change the game.
Oh man, you know that the whole state's it's in the palm of your hand. It's a matter of where do you want to go.
Right.
And so anyway, Justin, I want to say thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who haven't, check out Justin. Go check out his channel. Show him some love. And I'll drop all of the contact info in the descriptions. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, not sure what you're waiting for. Smash the subscribe button. And if you do enjoy the video, show Justin some love. Smash the thumbs up. Justin, thank you so much, man. Have a great day.
Thank you, buddy. All right, you too. We'll be in touch. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Yep.